instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod. Well, welcome everyone to the Flagstick Podcast. I am a host, Jeff Botter, and with me is the other host, Scott McLeod. And just to remind everybody that the Flagstick Podcast is brought to you this week again by our good friends at TaylorMade. With Stealth, they have pushed past the limits of titanium and introduced the world to the carbon wood age. So how far are they willing to take it? Well, let me tell you, way past far and into forgiveness. Introducing the all-new Stealth 2 Plus, combining elements of speed forgiveness to unlock forgiveness. Visit TaylorMadeGolf.ca to learn more. And just to let you know, little giveaway this week on the show. I told you this was coming.
Yep.
And our buddies, our good friends at TaylorMade have sent me the box, and the box has some stuff in it, and the stuff is going to be given away. So, but before we get to that, make sure that you're following us. And this is serious. Make sure you're following us across social media networks on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. Subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. And I cannot stress this enough, especially this week. YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like us. Click the notification bell to make sure you never miss a single episode. As we said, the goodies are here. The stuff is going to be given away because there's no room in this. This office is like maybe 12 by 12. There's no room in this office for the goodies that have come. So we must give away the goodies, and we're going to start that this week. And we're going to tell you about that a little bit later because we don't want you going and doing stuff now and then leaving. You're going to have to hang out.
Got to keep you here for a bit.
Sorry, you got to listen. You got to watch. If you're listening and you don't watch, you might want to watch because there's a whole YouTube thing that you're going to want to do near the end of this podcast.
There you go.
There you go. I've said my piece. It is what it is. It's warm outside. Let me tell you.
Hey, and it's June.
Welcome
to
crap.
June.
It's finally, yeah. Well, I guess we'll get summer for a day, and then we'll see how it goes.
Well, you know what? It's been perfect the last few days, really. I mean, I'm not going to complain about the heat. I think we talked about that a few weeks back. We were going to go all of a sudden from complaining about the cold to complaining about the heat, but not going to complain about the heat at all. Just got to take advantage of it, which I think a lot of people are doing now. I'm hearing some people are finally getting to the golf course. I'm not sure if that means you, but it is.
I'm still an ailing old man, apparently. I'm going to try. I'll see this. The shoulder. I'm not. Are you kidding me? I'm 52 years old. I don't fight through the pain anymore. I get a prescription.
Yeah. I got to play this week.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Had a nice little game down at Whistle Bear for the Price Strong tournament for Dayton Price. Had a nice little game, played with Hayden Underhill, who obviously you just saw at the the Flagstick Open. Played with him and his dad, and then had to sit in the cart with that James Duthie dude, hang out with James. So
how is Duthie doing?
Duthie is awesome. I mean, for people, I posted it on my Instagram, and I think people need to know this. And had some podcast interviews and stuff with him, managed to hang around with him a little bit at some events and things like that. Duthie is just a good human. Yeah. A lot of people always just think about him with, he's a TV guy, he's a hockey guy, and he's well known for that. And obviously he gets a lot of attention for that. I mean, there's no shortage of people coming up to say hello with him at this tournament or whatever. But he's just a good human. Ottawa guy, obviously we know that.
Yes.
And he just does whatever he can to help people out. And that's the reason that he was there. And people are familiar with, we talked about on the podcast, familiar with what he and the Golf Canada Foundation did for Dayton Price and Hayden Underhill and got them down to the Masters this year, had them down there. And this was just an event for the Price Strong Foundation that they've started. So it was a Whistle Bear in Cambridge, and great turnout, fantastic support, raising some money, not only for the Price family, but for other people who have to face, unexpected challenges like they have.
100%. Yeah.
And Lawrence Applebaum from Golf Canada was there as well. They were in the group in front of us. So there was the 1A, 1B. So we got to chirp them lots. throughout the event, and yeah, we had a great time. It was a good event, and it's been a while since I played in some charity events, and it was kind of fun to do. So we had a good time down there.
Yeah, it has been a while. I don't think I've played
Yeah.
in I mean, we used to play, obviously, yearly. We used to play in the Metcalf Charity Classic.
Yeah, and
Uh,
obviously there hasn't been any pro-ams for a number of years, so
no,
I haven't played in any of those.
no, it's been very different, but a lot of that stuff is coming back. And we even
Yeah.
talked the other day about possibly having a Flagstick, since we are the title sponsor of the Metcalf Charity Classic,
Yeah.
having a team back in it again, just for the fun of doing it. I mean, obviously we always recuse ourselves from participating in winning or prizes and stuff like that, because frankly, don't need any more prizes.
No, but it's fun.
Never
You're
about
right.
that. It's just being
Yeah.
there. It's
Yeah.
for us, when it comes to charity golf tournaments, we like to play in them, but it's more about just being there, participating, being around everybody else that's participating. It's not about, going out and trying to, you're trying to have fun, but you're not going out there to try to win a charity golf tournament.
No, but if you can, if you can put yourself in a position to maybe help draw a little bit more attention to it, if there's some prizes. I know I've donated some lots of different things, little fitting sessions or lessons or stuff like that to different events and things over the years, which is nice to do. Even if you do anything for the events, it's hard sometimes. I mean, there's certainly a lot of requests, but if
Tell me about it.
If there's something that you can do, obviously that's great. And I know I'm going to be hanging out. We'll get to it in a bit about the Play Junior Golf Tour, but I'm going to hang out a little bit, I think, this weekend on Sunday.
Nice.
At the event there. I don't know if Chris might make me do some starting or something like that. Who knows? But the event at Amherst,
he's going to put you to work. So that's for sure.
He probably will.
Don't show up and expect to just stand around and watch. You're going to get put to work,
and that's perfectly fine. I'm good with that. Anything you can do to help, with golf. Here's a funny thing, and I don't mean to, I'm not trying to bang on people or whatever, but there was someone that I talked to recently that said, when it comes to golf, there are people that are givers and there are people that are takers. And there's people that just want to draw whatever they want out of golf for themselves selfishly. But, this is a game that's given back to a lot of us and done a lot for a lot of people in their lives. So, you feel like there's an obligation there that if you can use the game as a tool to do anything, better for other people, yeah, why not get to it?
There's always going to be a certain, no matter what you do. We've been doing this for well over 25 years. I mean, we're into what?
Yeah.
Oh God,
you're 27.
You're 27 now.
Yeah.
And yes, what we do is a business. I can't do what I do without trying to earn revenue to keep things going and move things forward. And it gets tougher and tougher every year to do that. But at the same time, there's always a part of what you do where you feel that it's not an obligation.
No,
it's inside you that says, I've got to sponsor that. I've got to provide something for that, or I've got to show up and help out at that. I feel like what golf gives me as a business owner in the industry for as long as we've been in it, what it's given to me as a livelihood, I feel like I have to, I don't have to, but I need to. I want to provide something back, even if it's something small. I mean, we can't sponsor everything. We can't donate to everything, but if we can do a little bit of something, I just had an email the other day from actually yesterday from someone, that's got a charity golf tournament coming up, and they're just asking if we have anything that we can donate for a hole-in-one prize, or or something, not looking for something extravagant, just looking for like a hat or a dozen balls or something. And I always try to make sure we have stuff, if we can, to provide for that. Like, okay, I can give you, I'll give you a dozen balls and a cap. What is it to me? I mean,
you've got lots of caps,
lots of caps and balls and head covers and stuff kicking around. Now I don't have 400 that I can give one to every player in the event, but I've got, a couple dozen here and a couple dozen there. Like it's no big deal to do that.
And I've found over the years that even going to events or whatever, I don't know, maybe it's stuff that I win and, it may not be, it's not recycling stuff, but it's just something that's like, do I really need it? maybe I got it in a draw or something like that. Or it could be just something as simple as, like, yesterday I had someone from who runs a hospice foundation in the Coburg area, who I knew from years ago, just reached out, just looking for advice on how they were going to do some things for their event. And then last night, and we'll probably have some more details on it probably on the website at some point, I had a gentleman who works with the Canadian Cancer Society, who knew for the years ago, Doug Kane. Actually, I remember Doug. They used to sell advertising for the Whig Standard a long time ago. So he works for the Canadian Cancer Society now, and he's just saying, hey, we're just looking for some ideas as far as how to get the word out about our event. So I'm going to get back to him probably sometime today, find a way to, maybe help market their event, and again, lift it up a little bit, give it a little bit of attention. So it's little things. It doesn't have to be monetary. It doesn't have to be cash, but, giving back to the game. And, I'd encourage anybody who's, ever played this game and golf has given them something, better in their life to, take the time to do that. And like I said, it doesn't have to be monetary. It can be something as simple as volunteering. Just go and do something for an hour, or if you've got some other skills that you have that you can help someone else with, get at it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Okay. We do have a show to do.
We
beyond,
do.
Beyond is, well, that is part of what we do.
Yeah,
that is
sure.
The show is doing right now. So we are doing the show. But we do have a good show a great show for you this week. On the front nine, we are going to catch up on some of the golf news, regional and beyond that. Just to get everybody caught up on some things. And on the back nine, we're going to take a look at the 112th RBC Canadian Open that's going to take place next week. And we're going to talk a little bit. We got some little Canadian Open trivia I saw that we're going to do. So some cool stuff. Plus, we have
the giveaway.
And
stay tuned.
You'll stay tuned for that, I'm sure. But let's get on to the front nine. Presented by Metcalf Golf Club. Natural setting, a pleasant challenge. Golf season is here. No doubt about that. So don't wait to save on golf this season. Get a membership if you can. Join a league, purchase some game packs, and be ready to hit the first tee running when save some bucks. Visit metcalfgolf.com to shop now. All right. The front nine.
Yes, sir. Lots going on.
Front nine, yeah, tons of stuff going on. I mean, let's dive into it. Just get everybody caught up a little bit. I mean, we don't want to do the shopping list of news all the time.
No,
but a lot. It's starting to get that. We're starting to roll in. I mean, it's the 1st of June now. Now we're starting to roll in. June's happening, July's happening, August is going to happen, and that's going to be wall-to-wall tournaments. No way we can cover it all on this podcast, but we do cover majority of it. I won't say we cover it all, but we do cover the majority of it on flagstick.com. So if you get over to flagstick.com, a lot of what we talk about here will be there, plus a lot of stuff that we can't talk about here because a 3-hour podcast might not get listened to very often.
No, and if it's not mentioned on our website, you can always catch it on our social. We'll obviously make mention it on our Twitter or Instagram, whatever we can, as far as little bits and bobbles. Sometimes there's not enough information for a full story, but we'll try to give it some sense of coverage.
Exactly. And speaking of Twitter, there's something you posted on Twitter I want to talk about later.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
you know exactly what
that.
Yeah,
I knew you would find.
See, it's like I'm not a social butterfly like yourself,
but you see certain things.
I do see stuff, and that did catch my attention because
everybody's biting on that one today.
I do have comment. So I want some context, obviously, but then
okay.
We'll talk about that. But let's get into Quebec Spring Open. Let's go there first, Scott. The Quebec Spring Open was held at Beaconsfield. Great track. Always. Great track. Love that golf course.
And actually improving right now. Jeff Menge and Christine Fraser doing some work down there. They brought back some of the old bunker forms, and I just saw they filled some sand in there the other day, obviously after the Spring Open, and looking good there. This event, obviously historic event, happening since 1926-ish, I think, something like that. But
you know more than I would about that part of it.
16-year-old Emile Lebrun, who great kid, shot 66, spends his time in Florida in the wintertime. I've had a bit of communication with him just on Instagram, going back and forth. He was playing some minor league pro events in the wintertime. He actually had a couple of top 10s on the minor league golf tour. So an immense talent. He was one of the 3 players that shot 66, but ended up beating out Etienne Bro, who was the pro winner. He beat him out in a playoff to take the overall. And nice. Vincent Laplante of Rockland Golf Club, who actually plays at Ottawa U and is actually playing in the Canadian University College Championship as we speak. He was the top player from the Ottawa Valley at a T12.
Nice. Now, the OVGA is continuing to get things rolling here with their season, and they had their opening field day.
They did, which was a qualifier for a number of events, match play, and so forth.
It's funny because I started to look at the results of this, and it's just
familiar names, eh?
I see Diane Doolin up there, and it was like, does everybody else just play for second place when she's teeing up in a tournament?
I mean, there's a few other players that are certainly in the mix, but certainly, you know, she's certainly been a long-standing top player. You know, Diane Dolan obviously won the women's A, and then Sherry Rodenkirk won the women's B. Men's B, a couple of new names there: Ruggles Pritchard and Andy Cornway. So
what a great name that is.
Which one? The Ruggles?
Ruggles. I love that.
It. So I don't know if it's his nickname and he makes use of it, or if it's actually on his birth certificate, but I'm going to venture to find out, because
I would. That is a cool name.
Ruggles. Like, you know, when you think of golf names, I don't know if you've thought of this over the years, but I've talked to a number of people about golf names, and I still think my favorite golf name that I ever saw on a trophy was I was at Westmount Golf Club, and they had their club champion was Baz Van Willigan, which I thought
that's awesome. You know, like, what's funny is like when you're in high school, that name, say Ruggles. Okay, when you're in high school, if that's not a nickname that was given to him, if that's a real name, that's the kind of name that you get laughed at and bullied about. But that is a cool name. I am sorry, but that is a cool name. I want to be named Ruggles.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeff. Right, I'm named Jeff.
Jeff Ruggles.
Sorry, Mom. I know Jeff or Jeffrey when or Jeffrey Thomas when she's mad at me. It's always Jeffrey Thomas. When
now we're just gonna call you Ruggles.
I mean, I know the kids used to call me Doc when I was in public school, and I still don't have any idea why. I was the doctor of radness, I think.
Next, men's A winner, Bowie Abbas Mills, who also had an ace on number 3, and
that's how you win, right?
Senior men, Perry Frida, who obviously from Madawaska, who we've seen as a winner before in some of our events. So good on them. Great start for the OVGA as far as the field day and getting their season rolling along.
Bowie Abyss Mills. Now, Bowie,
he's a superintendent now, I believe.
I don't see you registered for the Flagstick shootout, Bowie.
Yeah, Bowie. Yeah, that's a good.
Geez, with that OVGA field day victory, I'm kind of thinking that the tournament director might give you an invitation if he sees your name pop up in the registration.
All right, we might have to track him down and send a personal invite. How's that?
There we go.
All right.
Okay.
Next week.
All right. Next week. This is a big one. This is a big one.
Is it? It is big. Well, it is big. It is big in a certain way.
It's big in a lot of very positive ways. Now, the PGA of Ottawa Spring Open, first event of the season on the Flagstick.com PGA of Ottawa Tour, is next week, June 5th at the Marshes, and
Monday.
And there's a difference this year.
We mentioned it last week.
It's the Stableford idea, which I think is awesome. Awesome. Now there's they got a good field. Like it's
one of the strongest they've ever seen within the zone. I mean, it's really, really good. I
mean, Scott McLeod is in the field.
I am in the field. I got my
that makes it strong in itself right there. Let me tell you.
I am out at 10:40. I got my tea time. I'm with Dale Peterson and Pasquale Mongilo from Cornwall. So yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
Now, our good friend Chris Meekin, who used to work with us here at Flagstick, he texted me yesterday to ask us to play in a charity golf tournament on Monday.
Oh, the Ottawa Hunt?
Yeah. So I unfortunately, Chris, this is why he can't play.
Yeah.
He's fulfilling his professional duties of supporting the zone and playing in the Spring Open. Good luck with the charity event there, Chris.
Yeah, it's going to be a good event. That's
I
the
hope
Rotary Club.
some big bucks are raised.
Yeah, they will.
And yes, we will get out and play. Chris, he asked us to he wanted to get out and play with us. He's playing really well and doesn't think we stand a chance. I don't know if he's just blowing smoke, where, but whatever. Bring it, Meekin.
Yeah, good luck, Meekin.
Now, there's who's the defending Spring Open?
Mike Dagenet and Graham Gunn. So that's the regular and then the senior. So, but yeah, Stableford's going to change up the format a bit, and especially as we said, at the Marshes with 6 par 5s, a couple maybe drivable par 4s.
They should do. They should be set up for Stableford. I'd be setting every par 5 up to reach in 2, and whenever you can get.
If you're a senior and you're playing off shorter tees,
seniors.
But you know what the cool part is? 61 players, which is one of the biggest fields in a long time. And it was funny because I was actually talking to Brendan Parsons last night, who's the director of operations at Listowel Golf Club. We were talking about Riley Connors obviously coming up and playing the event, and for people that don't know, this is where Corey Connors is from, but he is serves on the board in the PGA of Ontario and is about to be the president. And we were talking about events and bringing people up. And I said, hey, we got a big field that's coming up. And he was shocked of the fact we were going to have 61, in the zone. We're not a big zone. We're less than 200 players in the zone. So the fact that we can get 61 players out there, and there's 9 that are taking their playability test.
No, they got to play stroke play, right? They can't play this.
They have to play stroke play, yeah. So
too bad. That'd be cool if you could do your playability test. Well,
that would be pretty easy then, because basically once you're over a bogey, there's no points. So
yes!
you got your 0
no points,
right? So those big numbers don't hurt you at all, but the fact that we've got a lot of players coming out and playing is fantastic. To have 61 is incredible.
Love it. Well, that's going to be fun.
Yeah,
I'll definitely make an appearance to pop out.
Ooh.
I'll pop out.
I might need a caddy.
Not that big of an appearance.
Okay, all right.
You don't want me caddying for. I can't carry your bag.
Oh, okay.
No, you can't carry anybody's bag right now.
You could push it.
I can't even walk. Are you kidding me? I can't even play 4 holes. I can't. I'm limping half the time. My shoulder's better though. I probably hit a golf ball now. Give me a cart.
Well, there you go. Get you a cart.
Get me a walker.
All right.
Speaking of players and speaking of fields, Flagstick.com shootout. We're still slowly treading towards the an official you can't register anymore date. We have not set that date yet, because the difference with this tournament and the Flagstick Open is it's not a first come first serve. You register, and every once in a while we've been saying, okay, we're gonna pick 10 guys, we're gonna pick 20, we're gonna pick 3, we're gonna pick 5, and as we're just gonna keep doing that until we get to a point where we're gonna we're not gonna let you register anymore. We're trying desperately to allow as many people to register to get on that list as possible before we start finalizing the field, because people have a lot of interest. People reach out and say they want to play, but they're not registering. They got to commit. So you've got to commit to registering and get your name on the list so that we can select the field. And we are running out of time.
Yeah.
It's not that we don't have enough players to run the tournament. That's got nothing to do with it. What it has to do with is we want to make sure that as many players who have expressed an interest in wanting to be in the field get an opportunity to be in the field without imposing a hard deadline. But we have to order stuff. Yeah, you have to register. And we have to order product, particularly the shirts, and for the players, shirt sizes and stuff. They're not just going to send me 300 or 400, excuse me. Woo! Usually there's a cough button for that, but it's a podcast. I mean, I could probably just take it out, but anyway, I'm not going to leave it in because it adds character. A cough button. Maybe there is a cough button or something here.
Turn your mic on and off.
No, now it says we got like a few minutes before we have to take a break. Okay. So the point is, you got to register, and we're going to put a hard cutoff date on that probably in the next couple of weeks. So get your name on the list so that you have a chance to be put in the field.
You've got to enter. I had said it. I said it yesterday. There's a couple people that messaged me. They're like, "Hey, I haven't got an invite." I'm like, "Well, have you applied?" And they're like, "Well, no." I'm like, "Well, we can't. We're not clairvoyant."
We don't know everybody. I mean, yes, I can shoot some emails out to some people.
Oh, sure.
Which we have done with the Flagstick Open list. We have sent emails directly out to players from the Flagstick Open list to invite them to register.
Right.
But you still have to register. I'm not just gonna.
These are not just random invitations where we're just like browsing the internet and go, "Oh, we're gonna."
Because understand, you get invited. It's not a 72 players playing for free. No. I mean, you still have to pay for stuff. So there's still it's like it's just it's a limited field. So we're not going to let everybody in. Yeah. So do that. Plus, big announcement. We have a new supporting sponsor for the Flagstick Shootout. Just finished a good chat this week with Jamie Hall from Gananoque Chevaux in Gananoque.
Great supporter of golf. Also supported an event on the Play Junior Golf Tour.
Yeah, very, very big supporter of golf. And he's such an avid golfer. So we're chatting. He's on his way to the golf course. He's sore. Yeah. He's got some pain or something, and he'll like, I gotta play. I gotta get my golf in. I'm like, Jamie, take a break. I can't take a break. I gotta golf. No. So huge announcement. Big thanks to Jamie Hall and to Gan Chevaux for supporting the event. We're really excited to have them on board, and for the inaugural reboot, if you will, and moving forward. So looking forward to that. Have a few vehicles out around the golf course for people to peruse.
That'd be nice.
Yes. So that big announcement there. So we just want to remind everybody that wants to get in, you got to go to flagstickshootout.com and register, because otherwise I don't even know you want to play.
That's right.
So do that. Now, we got to take a break real soon here, but Scott, do you want to throw any other quick things in there before jam it all in? Because you don't want to waste. No minutes.
No waste, no minutes. All right. So super quickly, a couple of big things coming up. RBC, their qualifier. The last one is on a Sunday, so it's at Coppenwood. So that's their Monday qualifier, which they've had to move there. Lots of good amateurs in there, including Daniel Abraha, who's in the playoff at the Flagstick Open. So good luck to him. And that's playing for 4 spots in the RBC Canadian Open, the last 4 spots. The next day, U.S. Open Monday qualifier is for the Canada is at Lambton Golf Club. Lots of tour players that are playing there, from Webb Simpson to whatever. That is actually open if people want to go and watch that as well. That's of interest. And then the PJGT Junior Tour event was at Black Bear last weekend. Quickly, the winners were Edmund Blakely, Jack Sample, Olivia Pattison, Charlie Winton, Peyton Pattison, Hunter Stevenson, Xinyao Zhang, Peyton Velkamp, Minnie Brader, Bentley Klopmaker, Nash Adamek, and Vanessa Ball. And they are headed to Amherst this weekend, and I'll be there on Sunday to give that a watch.
Nice. Now, we got to take a break.
Yeah.
Before we take a break, I just want to show you guys something. For viewers watching on YouTube, because again, if you don't subscribe to YouTube, you're not going to see what I'm about to do. You're only going to hear me talk about it. Isn't this awesome?
Ooh, nice.
What do you think of this thing? This is a TaylorMade. Now, this is old school. This is a TaylorMade.
Yeah, the 1979 logo.
Look at this thing. Look at this thing. You can't see it if you're listening, but we appreciate you listening. But this is the TaylorMade cap. It's got the old school logo on the front of it, and this is going to be coupled with a few other things we want to give away this week on the podcast. So stay tuned.
After the break,
we will tell you how you can win this hat amongst another bunch of stuff in a little TaylorMade giveaway pack. So
cool.
Stay with us. You're listening to the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod. We'll be right back.
That's far.
So much forgiveness. Wait, did you say forgiveness like far, or forgiveness like forgiveness?
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness. Forgiveness.
I'm hearing far.
Forgiveness. Like forgiveness. Forgiveness? Forgiveness.
I'm still hearing far, but whatever.
Introducing Stealth 2 with more carbon for more forgiveness.
Forgiveness. Just hit it.
Well, welcome back to the Flagstick podcast. Yes, he's Scott. Yes, I'm Jeff. And we are here to serve you.
We are.
Okay, now before we get into back nine stuff, we're going to get into back nine stuff. But before we get into that, we want to talk about the first of a bunch of little contests that we're going to do on the podcast throughout the rest of the season. This one, like I said, got a little care package, little box from our good friends at TaylorMade Golf Canada. And it had a whole bunch of little goodies in it. So I took some of those goodies and I put a little package together, and I'm going to show you the package.
Cool.
Because this really is a YouTube thing. I mean, you can be listening on audio, but then you've got to go to YouTube and subscribe and comment.
It's free to subscribe.
Totally free. And what are you missing? This is what you'd be missing if you don't subscribe. Okay, so here we go. What I want you to do is I want to go to YouTube. And if you're already on YouTube, that's good. This is simple for you. I only got to do the little comment thing. I want you to go into the comments.
Yep.
And I want you to comment on this particular episode 43.
But you got to be a subscriber. So it's
got to be a subscriber.
YouTube.com/flagstickgolf.
Yes. And I want you to comment below this podcast with the phrase, I want to win TaylorMade stuff.
I want to win TaylorMade stuff. All right.
Okay.
I like it.
I want to win TaylorMade stuff.
And you can comment whatever else, but just include that.
Yeah, you can comment, but
well.
you can say, Jeff's a donkey. Why is he asking for such a stupid phrase? But anyway, you can say that too, but that's not going to help you get the free stuff.
Probably not.
Okay, so here's the deal.
It will be a random draw.
And here on my desk. It's random draw. Okay, so start off. Boom. TaylorMade cap. Little retro
I haven't
logo.
seen all this stuff yet, so I'm excited to see what you've got in there. All right.
Let's start off with this. Boom.
Nice.
TaylorMade cap. Love it.
Cool. Yep.
And we got one of these. A microfiber. TaylorMade.
Wow.
Look at all those little logos.
Sweet.
It's like all the old TaylorMade logos, original one.
Yeah.
Hold that up there. Okay. The microfiber towel.
Got it. So you get a hat and a towel. Oh.
PP5.
6 balls.
Six balls.
Pack.
Canadian flag.
That's
I'm
the
going to open that
Canada
up.
edition.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Nice.
Canada edition.
Yep.
Okay. Look at that.
You get
2 sleeves, 6 balls. There you go. And what we're going to do, we're going to throw in a little something extra, a little fun. Look at these things. Little playing cards.
So instead of cards for humanity, it's cards for forgiveness. I like
cards
or
for
forgiveness.
forgiveness, as Rory would say. It's far. I hit it forgiveness. Okay.
Did you say far?
I said
or four. Do you say far or four? It's the commercial.
I'm not even going to go there. I know exactly what it is. Listen to the commercial. They just heard the commercial on the show as they took a break. So okay. So now here's the thing. We have 2 packages.
Oh, 2. So 2 winners.
Nice. 2 winners. The second package is going to include this cool towel instead of the microfiber towel. It's more of a big player's towel with the big.
Nice.
Okay. So we got 2 packages: towel, cap, balls, playing cards.
Nice.
2 packages to give away.
Free
and
entry.
all you got to do
is sub and
that's it. Subscribe. I want to win TaylorMade stuff.
Gotcha. Easy stuff.
Not
That's
hard.
Easy
Stuff.
Nice.
Okay. All right. So we'll remind you one more time at the end of the show to do that, but we're telling you that now so you can even do it as you're listening or watching right now. Get over to the YouTube channel if you're not there. Okay. Moving on. All right. We got a back 9 to do. And our back nine is presented by Greensmere Golf and Country Club. Save 40% on all daily green fee rates with FlexPass, which also includes 6-day advance booking for only $425 plus tax. Visit greensmere.com for more information. Do it. Okay. All right, Scott, back 9. Let's get into things. So we want to talk about the RBC Canadian. This is our national championship when it comes to golf. This is the big one. Yeah. This is the big one.
Yeah. The men's national championship PGA Tour event. Obviously, the KC Open is happening at the end of
it's going to be a mouthful
in Vancouver. Yeah, you know what? It's just always the adjustments. I actually saw Lawrence Applebaum had the new hats with the CPKC thing on it, and it looks weird at first, but you got to understand these corporations obviously change names, they have different mergers, sort of things, and you know it's just part of it. You
get used to it after a while anyway.
You
just have to say it enough times. I mean, we couldn't call the CP Du Maurier forever either.
No, well, it was more difficult when it was the CN-CP transition. So
Tell me about it.
that made it difficult.
Tell me about it.
Had a
I
few
know all
errors.
about that transition.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so we are here. We are now going to talk about the RBC Canadian Open. It's a little Canadian Open preview. This is the show before the big show.
Yeah.
Let's first of all, let's talk about the golf course, Scott, because you're probably more familiar with Oakdale than I am. But Oakdale, it's at Oakdale.
In center of Toronto, heart of
Toronto, old school. We're talking old school golf course here, 1926, correct? Is that?
Yep.
Okay, so we're talking old school golf course, and I love this. I think I said this on the last podcast when we started to talk about the RBC Canadian Open was happening. It's going to be at Oakdale. I love it when these kinds of national championships are held. Not to take anything away from a modern day golf course. There are some fantastic, awesome modern day golf courses, but I love old school golf courses. I love the history that goes along with them, and this golf course is going to be a test.
Well, it will be to a certain point. They're going to go low. I will tell you right now, I think they're going to go low on this golf course. It's had a lot of work over the years. Obviously originally Stanley Thompson design, Robbie Robinson did some work there. Ian Andrews is their current architect of record, and he's been working away on it. They do have 27 holes there. So in order for them to host this Open, they basically made a compilation course. They picked some holes from their various nines, took four from the Thompson 9, 5 from the Hominick 9, and then the 9 on the Newton 9. And I think the 9 and the Newton 9 is definitely where players will make hay and really, go low. So they're going to have to get this thing nice and firm, which thankfully the nice weather has been here for that.
Yeah.
If they're going to protect it a little bit. Par 72, just under 7,300 yards. Very distinctive 18th hole. People are going to see a lot of that this coming week. They've got a double-decker grandstand up there. It is a 500-yard par 4 with a creek that meanders down in the middle, forcing players to take maybe less than driver off the tee, especially if the ball's running out. So it's going to be interesting that way from a scoring perspective. I think because it's in the heart of Toronto, obviously not going to have an issue as far as an attendance aspect of it. Easy to get to for everyone. And it's just nice to have a new facility come in. And when I say new, I mean not new to the Canadian Open. And they're setting this up for the fact that, they're going to host at their 100th anniversary as well. They're obviously hosting this year, but they're hosting as well in 2026. So, getting them a little bit into a rotation there. It's hard to follow up what happened last year. I mean, it really is. I mean, especially after the pandemic had shut down the Canadian Open for several years. They got sort of everything back. Unfortunately, last year just so happened that was the first week of the live stuff. So all of a sudden DJ was gone and various other players, but having Rory win for the second time in a row. He is back to try for the 3 in a row. They've got a quality field. We haven't seen the full field yet. We'll hear that totally tomorrow at 5:00. The Friday at 5 is their deadline, but we certainly have an indication already of some of the players that are going to be there. Not only the just the world stars, but the Canadian players as well. And, Justin Rose, Sam Burns, Cam Young, Rory, obviously, Tyrrell Hatton, Cameron Champ, Sam, did I say Sam Burns already?
Yeah.
Sahith Tagala, who's obviously, merging on the scene. Those are just some of the headliners. And then, we've got a bunch of other players that are obviously playing in the US Open qualifier on Monday at Lambton. So that's an indication that they're going to be playing this week at RBC, even though we don't have that field yet. Your Webb Simpsons of the world and your Michael Blocks, who's got an exemption to play in. The
block party has arrived.
Yeah. So you know what? It's going to be a decent field, and I think the attendance is going to be good. I'm not expecting the same fireworks and the same excitement that maybe we saw last year, but I think they put all the other things in place. They've got activations all over the place. They've got a hole that people can come and play. They can play the one hole. We're
Oh,
calling
that's
it
cool.
hole 0 out on the golf course where people can go, because a lot of times they have activations where people can just like chip and putt or things like this. They actually have a little par 3 that
Nice.
people can play, and they can kind of go through and they get a little bit of a help instruction and things like that. They've got things happening on 25 of the 27 holes on the property. They're going to do their best to make things happen. Concerts, as we've mentioned before,
Yeah.
Black Eyed Peas, Alanis Morissette on the weekend. They just introduced, I think, 4 other artists that are going to be on their other kind of their warm-up stage or whatever. They're trying to make it a festival. They really are.
Oh, for sure.
And Golf Canada is working hard to do that. Where it might fall down will be, I think, with the scoring with the golf course. I don't think there's any player that's played it so far that has said it doesn't have everything that's needed for a national championship.
Mm-hmm.
The golf course is going to be short for some players. Yeah, just there's some downhillers and stuff like that from a hole perspective, that those holes are going to play shorter. There's some tough greens, so whole locations, but that's not a bad thing. I don't mind seeing scoring.
No.
I'm just saying to people, don't expect US Open, 5 under par winning. Not that St. George's, I mean, it was 19 under to win at St. George's last year. So it'll show well on TV, I think. And then, we'll see what the vibe is like next week. I'm planning to be up there for a couple of days. We've got Grant Fraser covering it during the week. So we'll have some photo galleries and things that we'll be posting on flagstick.com. And like always, just looking forward to it.
Yeah. I know. I mean, I can't say that I don't like to see the really deep scoring at national championships, and I mean, I know it's not a major. I know that it's far beyond.
Yeah, you can't prevent it, and I mean, we're June in Canada, really. I mean, there's a difference. If it was July or August, and you have a chance to start to bake out the golf course, but we were talking about the weather. The weather wasn't that great, just a few weeks ago. And lots of rain and stuff like that. So, you're not going to prevent it. The players
and growing rough doesn't seem to it doesn't seem to do what it used to do. I mean, you used to take a golf course like that and you let the rough really get gnarly, and that would protect it. Like you saw that at US Opens and stuff like that. But if it doesn't have the other elements as well, like if it doesn't have tricky greens with a lot of slope and speed to them, or fairways with a lot of speed to them, and then rough doesn't become a factor because they don't get to it. And then when they do come out of it, you're not hitting it to a green. Like I remember when the rough was somewhat gnarly at Pinehurst, number 2, and they had the greens running really fast, and you had guys rolling balls back off the greens.
Yeah, but their greens are shaped in a different way, right? Like, where these are, I mean, these have some severity front to back in some different areas, but I'm not going to throw names or players under the bus, because I've talked to a few players that have gone and played practice rounds and things, but you hit shots out there, and if you pound it off the tee, and even if it's a 450-yard par 4, some of these guys are hitting it out there. They're going to have a wedge in. If they're hitting a wedge and it's at a super thick rough, yeah, you know what? They might not have a birdie opportunity, an easy birdie opportunity, but they're going to be able to get it to a front edge and let it roll back or whatever. But they're not expecting to make bogeys. I don't think we're going to hear a lot of romantic talk about the course and the layout. And I'm just trying to be honest here, but the club itself is amazing. Like the support they have, Oakdale is unbelievable of what they've done within their community and their willingness to do this. Their staff is great, from Molly, their GM, to Ian Krebit in the shop, to they'll put on a good show. They'll do a great job of it. And I think this is where people have to realize that a lot of the things that go into hosting a Canadian Open are not always just about, having this iconic, course or layout or whatever. There's a lot of logistics that go into it. So, and I'm not saying the course is terrible. Far from that. It's a quality golf course. I'm just saying it's not always on the same level as maybe some of the couple other ones that you might hear about it. It certainly has a sense of history. Ian has done a great job. There's some nice really holes that are in there, but it's still not going to prevent players from scoring.
Does this open the door, Scott, when the talk and the chatter has always been when it comes to the Canadian Open that courses can't host it if it's not a PGA Tour level golf course. So does this open the door if a golf course like Oakdale can host a Canadian Open, does it open the door for other golf courses that may have not been considered Canadian Open golf courses to host? Because there's lots of golf courses out there that are not that are pretty good golf courses that have length. They just don't have the
but length is not the only factor here. I mean, part of the reason why Oakdale is so great is it's it's right by the highways. It's got a massive piece of property, so from a logistics standpoint, so a lot of those other courses don't have the room that Oakdale has on their property. Like, there's not a lot of 27 and 36 hole facilities, so I don't think it does really open. I mean, again, there's some great clubs that you could go play, but if you can't put the TV stuff in there, if you haven't got the space for the media tents, if you haven't got the space for hospitality, if you haven't got space for the fairway, which is their big food area that Golf Canada does with their partners, they got a 2,000 square foot keg restaurant that's going to be on site that they're building. So again, it's about logistics, and frankly, there's a difference between the US and Canada. They have 10 times the number of golf courses that we do. So we have great golf courses, but they have that many more that have that much more as far as amenities, size property. They have a lot more facilities that are 36 holes or 45 holes or whatever the case may be. So does it open the door a little bit? Maybe, but the other side of it too is that you still got to please RBC. RBC is the sponsor. There's not many corporations that can foot the bill for what PGA Tour events cost now. So a lot of things are dictated by what RBC would prefer, and that's why you'll see it in Vancouver, you'll see it in Toronto, mostly in Toronto. And I get it. A lot of people complain about the Ontario Open.
Yeah, but that's a corporate thing. So, I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, man, the events don't happen without the money.
No, that's exactly it. So I think if people want the other events, they're going to have to rely on having the CPKC Open. It has more flexibility as far as a smaller footprint and so forth, and world-class players. But again, that is dictated by CPKC, who obviously has affiliations with different areas and different parts of the country, wants to entertain corporate sponsors and things like that. So, consumers don't think of it that way. They always just think of the golf course itself. There's too much else that has to go with it. And we want this event to be successful because it's important for Golf Canada from a funding standpoint to generate revenue and to help out all our other programs and things like that. So, you know what? Sorry, we have to just compromise a little bit. And and again, I'm not saying this is a massive we're not really compromising too much here at Oakdale, certainly not. But just remember, it's not a US Open. It is a national championship, but that doesn't mean players aren't going to go low.
Now, we do know Mike Weir is competing in his 31st, which is just one Canadian Open, RBC Canadian Open.
And don't mention that second part. That's part of the trivia. I shouldn't have put that in there. I'll change the trivia. I won't mention. Go ahead. Go ahead. You can say it, and I'll change the trivia question.
Okay, so that's only one back of Canadian Golf Hall of Famer George Cumming, who had a record 32 appearances. So probably a good chance that Mike Weir will surpass that record, because I don't see Mike Weir making any announcement that this is his last Canadian Open appearance, because he's still quite competitive.
Yeah, certainly competitive on the PGA Tour Champions, and I don't think he still draws a crowd. Doesn't matter what.
Yeah, no question about that.
Yeah.
Other Canadians in the field.
Yeah, we've got 19 currently in there. We're obviously got 4 more spaces available on Monday, and a number of Canadians vying for those positions. But they range from Johnny Tervale, who's an amateur, Miles Creighton, Stu McDonald, are playing well in the PGA Tour Latino America, veteran David Hearn, Roger Sloan has been playing well in the Corn Ferry Tour this year, Will Bateman from Alberta is going to play his first one. Previous announced exemptions, Ben Silverman, who won his second time in the Corn Ferry Tour this year, Aaron Cockrell, who's obviously been playing well in the DP World Tour, is going to play in his second. Then we got our regional qualifiers, Taylor Durham, who's which is an amateur. He's in real estate. He's He's playing his first one. Never played college golf or anything like that, which is kind of neat. 29-year-old from North Van. He's going to get to play in that after shooting 65 at the BC Regional Qualifier. Daniel Kim out of Toronto. Sebastian Zermack of Toronto, who's actually going to have Ryan DeVoe of Napanee on his bag. Ryan, who's going to, spend a long time as a caddy on the LPGA Tour, is in the process of joining the PGA of Canada. He's going to be with Seb next week. And then, your usual PGA stalwarts from Canada, Corey Connors, Adam Svensson, Mackenzie Hughes, Nick Taylor, Adam Hadwin, Taylor Pendrith, and Michael Gligic.
Solid. That's a solid field of
lots of people to follow.
You have no shortage of storylines potentially that could come out of the RBC Canadian Open this year with respect to Canadian golfers. But, obviously the block party showing up now.
I don't expect much.
It's a great story and everything, but I mean, it was a great story the week of the PGA Championship. The expectations that some exemptions would come afterwards. Let's face it, good golfer, a great guy, even better guy, but good for the media.
Yeah, really. That's
it's a great marketing. It's a great marketing.
And the average fan too, who doesn't really, want something else to dig into more than anything. So
exactly. Okay. Now you created some Canadian Open trivia here.
Yeah, just a little short group here. We'll go quickly through it if you like. I've got some notes here. All right, let's go start with how much was the first prize money at the 1920 RBC Canadian Open? You want to guess?
I gotta be honest with you, I tried to look this up online.
Oh, come on.
I couldn't even find it. Well, I didn't want to not know. I have no idea how much. I'm gonna guess it was like $100.
Pretty close, 200. I've got a sneaky.
I wasn't too far off. Then.
I've got a sneaky player performance book.
Imagine 1920. You won you won $200 for winning the RBC Canadian Open.
We'll get to a funny one as far as money when we come down to the third one here that I'm going to modify because obviously we heard the answer. But let's go for the second one first. How much does the RBC Canadian Open trophy weigh?
You know what? That thing looks heavy.
Yeah. So think about this. If you want a relative weight, Stanley Cup weighs 35 pounds without beverages in it. So then you can start to think of what the Canadian Open trophy. No, I don't know if I've ever held the Canadian Open trophy.
I know I haven't. I'm going to guess that it weighs about 26 pounds.
Close. 22.
Look I am on fire. Like there's got to be some kind of prize for me being someone 22, 26. I had the $100 and
you'd be getting horseshoes.
I mean, I can get number 3.
Okay, so number
the original number 3, I got the answer to.
So mention the number 3. Obviously, you can clarify what that is.
Okay, the record for the most number of appearances at Canadian Open, which we now know is George Cummings. It's 32.
Yeah, George Cumming, not Cummings. Everybody makes a mistake. George Cumming was a longtime PGA professional. Did some work actually in the Ottawa area, doing some design stuff, even up at Renfrew, for an example. Okay, so he played his first Canadian Open in 1904. He played his last in 1945. He did win it in 1905. What do you think his total earnings were for all 32 appearances? That's my trivia question.
When was the last one he played in?
1945, which would have been Byron Nelson won that year, which is what
$1,000.
He won a whole $300 total in those 32 appearances. And a fifth of that, and I put out a tweet with that, a fifth of that came from his win in 1905, which he won a massive $60 for. Yeah, not much at all, that's for sure.
I mean, it's relative.
Well, sure, but
I mean, if you factor in inflation.
I don't know if inflation from his $60 in 1905 equates to, this many years later and, what's probably going to be like 1.8 million this year. So
that is crazy.
All right. Last one here. How many times did Tiger Woods play the RBC Canadian Open and did he ever miss the cut?
Okay. I think I know the answer to this.
Okay.
So I'm not positive of the number of times he played it. I believe that he played it twice. It might have been 3 times, but I think it was twice.
Okay.
And he missed the cut in 1997 at Royal Montreal.
Cheater. cheater.
I
Or you
didn't
knew
cheat.
that.
No,
you
I
were
knew.
there. I know you
I
were
was
there.
there. I was there the year that he missed the cut.
Got 76 in the second round. Yeah.
Yeah, I was there the year that he missed the cut, and I knew that he at least played it the one more time when he won,
Right.
because it was kind of like he wasn't going to allow his only Canadian Open appearance to be a missed cut. He come back and played at Glen Abbey and won at Glen Abbey and never played in it again.
Oh, he did play it the next year.
Oh, did he? Oh, he's defending. Okay,
right. So he did play 4 times, and yes, he did miss the cut.
Where were the 4 times he played? Did he play Did he play it?
I think they're Glen Abbey, and Royal Montreal.
Oh, okay. Because the only other time he played Royal Montreal was at the President's Cup.
Correct. Watch that one.
Yeah, we were there in the grandstand. We weren't in the grandstands there. We were around the green.
Yeah,
we're actually inside the ropes on that one. Cool. So I was close. I knew that he missed the cut in 1997 only because I was there, and but I did think he only played it one other time. So 4 times. So
there's actually it's a really cool player performance book that Golf Canada has, and actually if you search for it, you can find it online, and it actually has the history of all the players that have ever played in the RBC Canadian Open, and there's some wild names in there and some surprising ones too.
Wow. All right,
there we go.
Well, there you have it, folks. Little Canadian Open trivia. Little preview of the RBC Canadian Open, which will be starting up next week at Oakdale Golf Club. Should be interesting. Should be exciting.
Yeah.
Glad you might have the opportunity to go up there. Thanks to Grant Fraser for being our majority eyes and ears on site. Always takes some good photogs. So we'll be looking forward to creating the little Grant Fraser photo gallery.
Yep.
But yeah. So before we jump off of the podcast, I want to remind you about the hat, the contest, TaylorMade cap, TP5 all Canadian golf balls.
Yep.
Towel and cards for forgiveness.
Cool.
Okay. There's 2 packages. We want to give one to you, and we want to give one to somebody else. Speaking of you, meaning the good listener, good viewer.
Not me.
Not you. No.
Okay.
Because if you're listening, we appreciate it. We love you for it. But if you're not watching, you're not winning.
There you go.
Not this time. We will do something specific to listeners because we don't want to alienate you just because you don't watch on YouTube.
We have further
There's other stuff on the YouTube channel. We just want you to go check out the podcast on YouTube, see if you like it, maybe the visual side of it. Drop a little comment, and what do I want you to say? I want to win TaylorMade stuff. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Subscribe, make the comment, have your name drawn, win the TaylorMade stuff.
When are we going to do that draw? When do you think? We'll just we don't have a timeline really for that right now.
No timeline.
Give it a few weeks or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll give it a few weeks because there's a couple of them. Give people a chance to get their subscription done.
Sounds good.
And we have more stuff. I got more. This box had a lot of stuff in it, so I've got more goodies to give away from TaylorMade, and I've got more goodies to give away throughout the rest of the season. So,
all right, well, thanks to the team at TaylorMade for that.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. I do like this hat, man. If you don't comment,
you're subscribed?
I'm subscribed, and I already said that I want to win TaylorMade stuff. So good luck the rest of you for winning. Okay, that's all we got for this episode of the Flagstick podcast. Obviously, want to thank all our sponsors. Oh, wait a minute. Do we have what time we got? Okay, I don't think we got a lot of time to talk about this, but
yes, the tweet.
Your tweet. I'm going to run out of time, so I'm going to be like pushing hard through the last part of this. But anyway, let's just this. You tweeted out about you understand the logic behind why what happened with respect to somebody who's a student of yours.
Yeah, but it wasn't specific to him. It was.
It's in general, but I know what you're saying, and they missed out on qualifying for a provincial championship.
Yeah, and I've said it
Because
before.
of retrogression.
Correct.
Being sucked by retrogression. We got about 8 minutes. We should be plenty of time to talk about this and close out the show. So I read your tweet and I saw some people that made comments. So I'm going to make my comment on the podcast. I'd say live on the podcast, but it's not really live by the time you listen to it. It's live right now, but it won't be live. So my feeling on this is, and I'll say my piece. When it comes to provincial championships, national championships as a whole, I don't believe that retrogression should be used to decide those things. I think that unfortunately, I know that there's limitations to the size of fields. But if you've got, because you could essentially have 10 people tied with the same score.
Yeah.
And, one guy gets in or one person gets in and 9 don't because of retrogression. It's a championship. Now, if it's deciding flights,
that's fine.
I mean, even for the Flagstick Open, we have a playoff for the overall.
Yeah.
We don't have a playoff for the A. We don't have a playoff for the B, C, or D. We do that by a form of retrogression, a tie-breaking system. That for this year, we did that based on, it's a 36-hole event. So it was based on your 18-hole score from the second day.
Yeah. So if people don't know what retrogression is.
Retrogression, you're basically counting back.
Yeah, it's a scorecard playoff basically. Yeah.
So you basically say, okay, well, you made this this is what your score was going into the 18th. This is what your score was going into and you just keep going back. And there's different forms of tie-breaking systems using similar retrogression type systems. And a lot of times, unfortunately, they're not fair. But there has to be a system of doing it. But I do not believe that it should be a system that is used to decide this kind of thing. That would be like the PGA Tour not going. If you maybe go to a playoff,
that's really what.
Don't let everybody in. Yeah. Go to a playoff. Yeah. Go to a like. My gosh, I would say that most of those guys would probably prefer to go to a putt off.
Anything.
If you want to do it, cheeky and weird. Yep. They'd rather go to a skill way of getting through than being selected based on what you scored on the hole previous to the person before you. Like I don't understand why you do that for a provincial championship. It does kind of suck, and maybe we'll take a little bit of slap in the hand of the Heat for saying it. But
no, and I think no. And here's the thing: there was definitely some people that commented on it. There are some people that gave it a like or whatever who are involved with or previously involved with national or provincial bodies. And they know they're competitive players. They've seen that before. And it's not like players, and it wasn't that just the particular student, but there was other players that were involved, and it's been at other events. I've been retroed out of 2 provincial championships, with a partner as far as a better ball. And it's like, oh, well, we shouldn't have made that bogey on the last hole or, had the worst back 9 or whatever, even though we shot the same score. Golf is 18 holes in these cases. Yeah. It shouldn't be a matter of the order that you make those pars or birdies or whatever in to get the scores. It just, for these type of things, the players would stick around. I get it. Maybe some of the facilities are, they've got members in behind them or stuff like that. A lot of the playoffs don't take that long. Or as you said, there's some other way to fit them in or to make them happen or whatever. I get it's a convenience for the organizers. Obviously, we know that from doing events as well. 100%. But this is a decision for a player to qualify for a provincial championship to get in, and they shot the equivalent score, and they're not going to get in or have an opportunity at least to play off. And they get it, they have not earned the spot, but the player who shot the same score hasn't earned the spot either. They've just shot better in a different order, which is not really a better score because golf is not hole by hole. It really isn't. So it's just unfortunate, and I feel bad. And as I said in my tweet, having had to go through it before, I feel bad when that happens. But it feels worse, especially when you start to talk about, juniors or anything like that. It's hard to fathom. Okay, I shot the score, but why am I not going through?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with it. It's not a good way. It's not a good way of doing it. It's they've had an unfair way of doing it.
Here's the other thing. They used to have for a particular provincial organization, they used to have a final qualifier. So that players that shot the score that were retroed out had spots in a final qualifier.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if that's the way that all of a sudden maybe the players that shot the same score and lost out in a playoff have a chance to go to a final qualifier. Again, we're not trying to just include everyone, and we know there's limits as far as the fields are concerned, but just a system that's not based on math rather than playing skill would be.
Well, I mean, you can imagine this different sport. You're playing hockey. Okay. And instead of having overtime,
right?
or a shootout,
yeah,
the game ends in a tie.
Yeah.
And the winner of the game is the team that was leading first before
the
end of the third period. So I'm up 3-2 with a minute left. The other team scores to tie it. And now the game is tied, but I win by retrogression because we were leading 2-1 before the. Can you imagine that? That's essentially what this is.
Yes, exactly.
It's not that retrogression doesn't get used, because we do use it ourselves in our events. It does get used, but not. I would never use retrogression to decide the winner of my tournament. Like that would not happen. And if I was asked to do it, that'd be the last time that I'd be holding my event at that golf course, because I can't have that hanging over my head trying to operate a championship level tournament and have to end it like that because there's no room to have a playoff. I don't get it.
As Chris McGrath, who used to work for Golf Ontario, mentioned, he said, especially when it makes zero sense to determine skill. And that's really what you're trying to do, is you're trying to determine skill of players to get into your event. But, the fact that they, had, maybe they stumbled down the end and end up with the same score, doesn't make them a less skilled player. They shot the number. So anyways.
All right. There. We talked about it. It's out there. Comment if you like. All right. Just one other thing. Next episode, Kevin Haim, Golf Instruction, is back.
It's back.
We're going to be running a few little Kevin Haim golf tips with Kevin and Jake, or just Jake, or whatever happens to work out. There's some cool videos, cool tips. So look for that next episode. Obviously, thanks to our sponsors, Metcalf Golf Club, Greensmere Golf and Country Club, and our presenting sponsor this week, TaylorMade with Stealth. They pushed past the limits of titanium and introduced the world to the carbon wood age. How far are they willing to take it? Apparently way past far and into forgiveness. Introducing all new Stealth 2 Plus, combining elements of speed and forgiveness to unlock forgiveness. Visit TaylorMadeGolf.ca to learn more. Hopefully, as always, you are enjoying what you're watching or hearing. Be sure to follow us across all social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. Subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Comment this week or next week. Get into the contest. Like us, click the notification bell, and make sure you never miss a single episode ever. Get over to flagstick.com for more amazing golf content delivered every day to that website. So we always appreciate you tuning in. Until next week, I am Jeff Botter.
It's Scott McLeod.
And always remember, go for the stick.